coming. Okay. We are
Okay.
all right. So,
Okay. So
go ahead.
were we on number 7 or 8?
I didn't number mine.
Okay. What role did the government policy and religious freedom play in the fight of the slave trade? Did you see their political system being pro-family? Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
I think we're on the next one.
Okay, we're on number 8. Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to read that one? And
Sure. Do you feel that Wilbur used his time on earth well? How did you see him showing the elements of consecration that Elder Christofferson spoke of?
okay.
Yeah, he used his time well. I think he pretty much dedicated his life to this cause. And then in the little epilogue or whatever at the end, it said that after that happened, then he went to other issues. I think it said he went to like healthcare reform or some other type of social issues. So I think he did. I mean, I think he made himself sick. My husband and I were talking about it last night about, you know, back then they really didn't know what was wrong with him. And I said, you know, he could have had bleeding ulcers, you know, that would have
I think that's like bleeding ulcers.
Yep,
Right.
or he could have had gallbladder issues, like that. So I think he made himself sick, or his illness was worsened by all the stress that he was under. So I think he really gave his whole entire life to this cause and to, you know, the other worthy causes that he was, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let me read something that Elder Christofferson said. He said, life offers you 2 precious gifts. One is time, the other freedom of choice, the freedom to buy with your time what you will. You are free to exchange your allotment of time for thrills, or you may trade it for base desires. You may invest it in greed. Yours is the freedom to choose, but these are no bargains, for in them you find no lasting satisfaction. Every day, every hour, every minute of your span of mortal years must sometime be accounted for, and it is in this life that you walk by faith and prove yourself able to choose good over evil, right over wrong, enduring happiness over mere amusement, and your eternal reward will be according to your choosing. I liked that. It was like, okay, he was compelled to do what he did, and he did. He used his time, and I think you're right. I think he made himself really sick. But interestingly, because Elder Christofferson said also that there's 5 elements of a consecrated life: purity, work, respect for one's physical body, service, and integrity. And on that respect for one's physical body, I thought about when he was obviously addicted to the medicine that he was taking, whatever that was, opium or whatever it was.
Opium.
Yeah, he went cold turkey and decided, I thought he was dying. I didn't know his story, and I thought he's going to die, but he didn't.
Well, and that's what I thought too the first time I watched it. I was like, oh, he's going to die, and then what's going to happen? We're never going to quit? Yeah.
Yeah, but he finally was able to rid himself of this dependency that he had, this addiction that he had, not realizing that's what was happening, and was actually able to have a clear head, and finally able to have the strength, the physical strength to be a family man and to do this. And so, your physical body has a lot to do with being able to, when you're healthy, you can accomplish a lot, and so I thought that was interesting. So, but yeah.
He didn't have any more attacks after that, so I wondered, that he showed anyway. I mean, who knows? But I wondered if laudanum was making it worse and then making him dependent upon it. So
right.
Both things, the addicted to the drugs and his illness that he had, I think it both made it worse. But yeah.
Okay,
great. Okay. Any other profound thoughts or personal insights from the movie related to child and family advocacy? My one thing is that it's hard. It's going to be hard. There's going to be opposition. You're going to get, you're not going to do it overnight. I don't know how many years, they didn't really say how many, 15 years, 16, 17 years?
I did. I think it was 17. I kind of did the math on there, and I think it was 17 years that it took.
It was a long time. It was a long time of his life, and I think perseverance is the key. Is that if we are totally committed to, whatever family advocacy that we feel like we need to advocate for, or issue that we need to advocate for, I think it's perseverance, and we saw him persevere through his entire life for that cause.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be an easy road. It's not going to be, oh, I'm going to go to this meeting and I'm going to raise my hand and vote, and then I've done my job and I can go home. It's really not that. I don't think we have to dedicate our life to it like he did. I think it interfered with his family. I'm sure they didn't really show that, but I'm sure it interfered with his job and with his family and those kinds of things. But I think we need to go into it saying, if I'm passionate about this, it's going to be a hard road, but I can still do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Never lost sight of that. He really believed this was going to happen. Year after year, he presented this bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Until he got to the, I don't know if it was for dramatics sake or whatever, but when we see him at the beginning, before he goes back in time to tell the story, he is discouraged. He's like, I don't even, when he meets this woman, he said, I'll talk about anything but that. I think he is just, I think she absolutely played a huge role in the real, if this story is true to the story account. I don't know sometimes, with drama and stuff, but if they truly, portrayed this correctly, I think I think he met someone that has been following him the whole time. And, she's been following him all along. And
she said since she was 15 years old.
Yeah. How encouraging to realize, okay, you know what? This isn't over, And I think that's an important thing to remember, that it's just because the world says it's over doesn't mean it's over, that the battle is over. And, I was looking at some of the notes that I put in here that, one of just some metaphors that were said in there that I thought were really interesting. One, and you probably thought it too, when William Pitt and he are racing, and afterwards they're walking, and he says, it's interesting how you don't notice the thorns until you stop running. And then I don't know if you remember that, but it was like, wow, that sometimes you just go, you just do it, and you don't notice how hard it is. I think the more you get into it, you can sit back and look later, and then you're like, man, that was hard. That was really hard.
I do that every semester. I look at the syllabus in the beginning and go, I'm not going to be able to write a 5-page paper on that. Are you kidding me? And then in the middle of it, I'm like, oh, I can do this. And at the end, I'm like, did I really do that? Oh, my God, I really did that. So I understand that part.
You do the same with I'll even go back and look at papers, and I'll be like, did I write that?
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah. So So I think we can totally relate it to advocacy, that we can actually do a lot more. The Lord knows it. That's the thing. He sees, and you look at your own children, and you can even look at it that way. We see the potential in our children before they ever see it. We know what they're capable of, and I know that the Lord sees that in us. That you know what, you absolutely can do this, and keep going on. Keep doing it. So I'm looking at some of these notes I wrote. Jennifer Aker, is that her name? Is that how she said it? In one of the lessons, she had said, most revolutions are sparked by the actions of a few ordinary people. Your biggest asset is a clear mind and a very large idea. And then her last one was, find the ignition point of a chain reaction and go ignite it.
Yep.
That's good.
Well, and I think that's what he did when he found God. I think he ignited what he'd always been passionate about, but didn't feel like he could do it, and he ignited it and took off with it. And, it took almost 20 years, but...
Yeah, he did it. Yeah. Patience to those who wait, right?
Yeah.
No, all good things happen to those who wait. That's what it is. All good things happen to those who wait. So, all right. Should we go to number 10?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your understanding of the doctrine of the family at the beginning of the semester, and how has it changed? I guess I could answer that first. I actually feel like my understanding has increased tremendously since I started school. And so I actually, not to sound like I'm all-knowing or anything, but I feel like I had a pretty good understanding at the beginning of the semester of the family already because of some previous classes that I've already been taking that have really helped. But what I said in here is my understanding has increased. And let me just tell you what I wrote here, because I think I've had a pretty good understanding of the doctrine of the family from raising my family, my husband, from raising my family and with my husband and children, and also what lessons I've learned from growing up in my family. But my understanding has increased a great deal since I went back to school in 2012. And so my understanding of the doctrine was already pretty solid at the beginning of the semester. However, since taking this course, my understanding of what role I can play and should play in the preservation of the family has increased tremendously. And I can't be afraid. And I think that's probably where my shift has happened, is that I know these things are important. I know my testimony. I know what I feel, but now I need to realize that I need to play a role in that, whatever that is. And we talked about that in our HOA today with the other group, that we all have different roles. I mean, look at what you're advocating for right now. It's one girl and one baby. Okay, that's big. May seem small, but it's huge.
No, it's not, because it'll affect him and his family and their family. If someone would have advocated for Ellie in the very beginning of her life, she wouldn't have turned out like she was, and how many people has she affected negatively. And if she would have, someone would have advocated and got her out of that situation earlier, she would have been a completely different person.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm really trying to fight for this, because he's so little right now. He can get through this. Whereas the longer they wait, the more years of abuse and neglect, it's a really neglect that changes their brain, that's when we're going to get into trouble with it. And he have issues.
Uh-huh. You know it. Just in going back to that one book we learned about advocacy, that it might take years.
Yep.
So, okay. Anything else you want to?
Well, so I said, first off, I had no idea how anti-family the United Nations is.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Yeah, and I knew that United Nations wasn't a great thing. I knew they were trying to do some, non-great ideas, but I had no idea how angry and feministic, or whatever the word is, that these women are, that they can't let those of us who want to stay home stay home. I mean, we're being suppressed or oppressed and stuff because we have that opinion. So it was shocking to me to learn, and I read that book in the first week of the semester. So I had that right off the bat, realized, wow, that's crazy. And that they're wanting to destroy the traditional family and take away the rights of parents. So that was a huge thing that I didn't know about. But the same as you, I think in the beginning of this semester, I had a really good foundation and a really good grasp on Doctrine of the Family. I've taken, I don't know how many classes I've taken. I've done, extensive stuff with foster care and adoption and lots of things. And so I feel like I had a good understanding of the doctrine. But now I really realize that Satan is everywhere, that he is fighting against the family like he has never fought against the family before. And he, I don't think I realized how the same-sex marriage thing really affected families. How did abortion really affect families? It only affects that one person. But really looking at this and thinking at it kind of in a different light or a different way, I realized that these things do affect the family. And I always knew they were wrong, but I didn't really think in depth. Whereas my thinking process is so much different now that's being in school.
Oh, yeah.
That main thing was the United Nations. That was a huge eye-opening thing for me.
I agree. I totally forgot about that in putting that on my thing, that was a light bulb thing. It's like, really? You hear about the United Nations. Also, you just think that that's a good thing. I had no idea. had no idea. It was crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess the last one is about picturing your spouse and children and write down thoughts about how they benefit from taking it. Then I said, whenever I'm advocating for the family, I'm in turn advocating for my own family. My own, my children are going to grow up and they're going to be adults in this society. And if I can make some changes or make some thoughts or make people think differently, then I'm advocating for them, not only right now, but they're my future grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And then since taking this class, I'm more mindful of the things that are trying to destroy and degrade the family, like the same-sex initiatives and all the different kinds of things that they're trying, the more radical feminists. And my family is the most important thing to me. And so when I'm advocating for them and protecting them. Because if I didn't have a family, if family wasn't important to me, I don't think I'd be advocating for any kind of family.
Oh, yeah.
What would be the point? I wouldn't see a point if family wasn't important. And being raised, being in the gospel and being part of that, knowing how important the family is, makes my family important. So, I also think I'm going to, pay attention to what the United Nations is doing now and try to keep up on that early or something and going, okay, this isn't okay, guys, and making my voice heard a little bit.
Goes back to being informed, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things, lessons I've learned this semester is, and my husband has said it before, he loves to watch these political shows, and I think since I started school especially, I just kind of, I hear that, but, I recognize the importance of being informed and being aware of what issues are going on and all of that. I put in my notes that I wish that I had taken a course like this 15 years ago when my older children were in elementary school, because I can think of some moments where I probably didn't advocate for my kids like I should have. I was, too afraid to shake the waters or whatever, too afraid to, whatever. I probably would have handled some things differently when they were in elementary school with, some situations at school and stuff. But in that same note, and I put that regardless, I still have teenagers at home, and I still have a job to do to raise them, and so the class for me has really heightened my awareness of what role I really need to play in their lives, and including being more active in the community, being more aware of the issues, discussing those, that's probably where I think it can really benefit my family. So,
yeah,
tell ya, it's been a good class.
I tell people I have another class in my communications class, and everyone in there is marriage and family majors. And we were talking about classes and what we're taking next semester yesterday during our meeting, and no one had taken 460 yet. And I said, oh, it's the best class I have ever taken. It has changed my life. It really has. It was the most eye-opening experience of all of my classes combined. I've learned more in this class and had my eyes open in this class than I have in any of the other classes I've ever taken, ever, in the 20 years I've been going to school. And this is something that I will use forever. And I can use it if I'm a stay-at-home mom. I can use it if I go to work. I can use it if I'm a grandma. You can use this class anytime in your life. And I think that's what is so phenomenal about this. I'm so glad that they do this class. And I'm grateful there's no classes or exams. I have to say that.
Oh, yeah. Amen. I don't know how exams would really benefit this class, because this is applications. There's, it's, how can you test for this other than silly trivial things of, okay, what year did this, okay, tell them.
Well, and I think that's what is in that 400 class and in the 150 class. Those are both. It was who is the father of the person who wrote the article? That was one of the questions in 150, and I was like,
I know.
I was so frustrated with that class, but
I know.
with this class, there's that 400 class too. I'm like, really? So I haven't done my feedback for that class yet, my evaluation. So I'm still thinking about what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say, I really think that the quizzes and tests are too much. Because whenever are we going to be somewhere where we have to know the ins and outs, the propositions and assumptions of a theory, and have to spout them off to somebody? We're just not going to need that. So
my thoughts on are, okay, if you want to test us on it, that's totally fine, but make it an open note. We're going to make excellent notes. Okay, now we know. To me, that's how when I took a psychology class, it was like that. It was open note, open book. So, but they made it really clear. It's a time test, and you don't have time to look these things up. You need to know them.
Yeah, was it Psych 201?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the class I took. Yeah, and I liked that class because if you had a question, you were like, "What?" and then you could go look that question up.
Look it up. But if you knew it. You could answer it. There's no, oh yeah, I know this one. I don't need to even check.
It's not like 100 questions. There was no way you could look up every single thing. So you had a really good base knowledge, but every once in a while there was a weird question, and you're like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But with this one, I don't know. I like the essay questions in this, though, like the actual practical stuff. What can you do? Here's this family. This is their issue. Which theory would you use, and how would you use it? Let's have a whole test like that. I totally could do good on that. Which one of these sentences, like the proposition of the assumption of this theory, is it always, never, or all of the above, or none of the above? I'm just like, what?
To all of the above. This last exam we took, every one that I got wrong, they were an all of the above or none of the above question, and I had picked one instead of all of the above. I wasn't sure, all of them.
I know.
It's a bummer. So, oh well.
Hey! Bring him here. Did you get dressed?
Hey, buddy. I'm wearing new clothes now. Hi.
I'm sure going to miss my son when he's off on his mission. Oh, we don't know yet. He hasn't put his papers in.
Okay.
Maybe sometime during the time I'm in school, and I'm going to miss him.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, I understand.